Welcome to It's All About the Questions, where learning to ask the right questions can help you achieve lifelong success. Now, here to help you ask all the right questions is award-winning author, international speaker, and business strategist, Laura Stewart.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. As you know, I always say that. Well, maybe you don't know. Maybe you're new to listening to the show. But I always say that because this show is listened to around the world live and on podcasts, so I never know what time it is for you, my listeners. It could be morning, it could be afternoon, or it could be evening. And what I do know, though, is this is the beginning of a new year for everyone in the world. It's 2018 now, and it's the start of something new. I don't know if you can feel the energy change. I know throughout a lot of the United States, it's frigid cold, including here in Florida. We're supposed to hit the 30s tomorrow. But, you know, for us down here, it's not so bad if we have that happen occasionally because it's a refreshing change. We just don't like it to last too long. When any new year starts for a lot of people, we start thinking about what can we change? How can we move forward? What are the resolutions that we're going to make? How we're going to change our lives? And I've always been of the belief that you can set those resolutions, set those goals at any point in the year. You can start your new year over again. But traditionally, for the majority of the world, that happens in January of any new year. But what if setting goals and achieving your goals is not just about adding new thoughts or beliefs and actions? What if, and I pose this in my book, What Would a Wise Woman Do? And I talk about it on the keynote speeches that I do, that if letting go of something is an even larger part of moving forward with achieving or even setting your goals, what if you need to let go of something? How do you go about doing that so that it truly is let go in a way that allows you to move forward? So with that thought in mind, I reached out to my dear friend, Michelle Manning-Kogler. She is the founder of Quantum Soul Clearing, Healing the Scars Life Leaves on the Soul. She has an amazing book called Quantum Soul Clearing. She holds monthly calls where she helps people work through to clear different things. She's just one of those people that is so great at helping people let go to move forward. So she's agreed to be on the show with us today. So Michelle, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me, Laura. I am so delighted to be here.
You know, we've been talking about this for a while, and it just all sort of, the plan came together.
Right?
Lots of things got in the way, but it came together.
There's a mouthful, yes.
Yes, absolutely. By the way, how is your foot today?
Oh, it's
that good, huh? So I don't know if you listeners, if you remember last year, I fell and broke my foot in a couple places and then fell and tore up my wrist. Michelle had a little mishap herself over the weekend, but thankfully it all came together and she could be with us today. So thanks for being here, even if you're one-footed.
You know, it's all good. It's all good. And I love this conversation that you have posed. You know, how do we move forward? How do we have this? How do we start clean and fresh every year? Because it's really important as we grow and as we take responsibility for our lives to really understand what all is involved with that. So I'm glad we're having this conversation this morning. I think that's awesome.
Me too, because in so many ways, you know, talking about, you know, mentioning your foot, one of the reasons I mentioned it is because there's so many things that can get in our way, throw us off balance when we're trying to set new goals or achieve goals.
Right.
And, you know, both of us have had our share over the course of our lifetimes. Some of them very literal with our feet and our legs and our literal forward motion, and other ways more figuratively.
Yeah.
What is it about moving forward that you think throws so many hiccups in our steps for people?
Well, I think there are a lot of things that kind of play into that. The first is the old programming that all of us have, and some of it's conscious, some of it's unconscious. And by programming, I mean the core belief systems and the thoughts that we have, and sometimes we're even picking up stuff from other people. And I'm sure your audience is well versed in in this type of a conversation. But those paradigms, those old belief systems, and those old thoughts are so embedded. There's a saying in the neurological world: the neurons that fire together wire together. And so when we have these repeating thoughts over and over and over again, they literally make up how we view our world. They create our reality. And so when we have thoughts that go over and over and over again about, life is difficult, life is hard, life is, whatever that belief system or that thought is, it kind of wires our brain for a certain outcome or a certain experience. And so to change, we really need to look at what those core beliefs are, and that means being very introspective. It means being able to kind of catch yourself as you go into a negative thought or a feeling, and our thoughts create feelings, and our feelings create thoughts. So it's kind of this catch-22. How do we move past something that is negative or uncomfortable to get to the really good stuff?
I like this idea that you just proposed. Thoughts create feelings, feelings create thoughts. Never really looked at it quite so succinctly as you just defined that. The last couple of weeks on my show, I've had two amazing guests that we began talking about focus and how to get your focused even in the midst of chaos. I had Bobby Kipper and I had Swami Durgadas and Swami Anjani, and we began talking about this whole concept of how you begin gaining awareness of your thoughts and your feelings.
Right.
Are there some tips you can share with my listeners around this concept that might help them begin to say, oh, wait a minute, I am in that loop-de-loop?
Right. Well, and I think that we've all had that experience of, we have something that triggers us. A driver cuts us off while we're heading down the road, and we immediately go into, bah! And
yeah, I've been there.
I think we all have. I think that's pretty typical. And then the next thought is, what a jerk that person was, and I'm running behind, and can't they see? And there's this negative downward spiral. What you can do in that moment is just kind of stop and take a breath and say, what's really going on here? So, is it that person actually did something terrible to us? Now, if they took off the front of our car, maybe.
Yeah.
But generally that's not the case. And so what's underneath that is somebody has inconvenienced me. Somebody has disrespected me. And so it's looking for those underlying feelings, those core beliefs that are about, what's really going on, what's really shaping our lives. And it takes some work to kind of catch yourself. And sometimes sometimes you're not even able to go to that depth immediately. But oftentimes it just makes me so angry when somebody does that. Now, anger is a secondary emotion. So what's underneath the anger? And when I say a secondary emotion, anger comes up to help us feel strong and powerful when in fact we feel weak and vulnerable in some way inside. So if we can stop in the moment, just take a deep breath, and I love this exercise where you take a deep breath into 4, hold for 7 counts, and breathe out to 8. And when you breathe out, it's breathing out like you're breathing out through a straw. And what this does is create nitric oxide in our bodies, which is a calming. It's a vasodilator, meaning it dilates the blood vessels and arteries, and it helps you calm down. So taking 4 of those types of breaths, into 4, hold for 7, breathe out through, like you're breathing out through a tiny straw to the count of 8. That helps lower your blood pressure. It gives you time to think, and it gives you time to kind of reflect. What's really going on? Because I just had this gut reaction. What's underneath that gut reaction? Why am I feeling like this? And oftentimes it's as simple as, I was in a rush and somebody disrespected me, and that was my spot in the road. Well, maybe, but maybe not. And also practicing, I forgive you for doing that. Let's just move on. And really, when you look at it from a tactical or strategic point of view, we're talking about 8 feet. How important is it, really, in the grand scheme of the universe, to have those extra 8 feet between you and whatever? So, sometimes it's about perspective. But those downward negative spirals are really what begin to create a reality. And and I learned this technique when I was actually working for the phone company years and years and years ago. And I would get to work and I would think, another day, I can't believe this. And invariably, my first callers would be so anxious and angry and just spouting fire. And if I was reactive to them, my whole day went wrong. And so I would practice turning that energy around, and I'd say, it sounds like you're really having a rough day. What can I do to help? And those 3 words, what can I do, those few words, what can I do to help you, changed everything. First of all, it changed my perspective, because it put me in a place of conscious service and helping rather than being reactive.
Okay, so that's a really interesting concept. We're going to go into our first commercial break in just a moment, and I'd like to pose out to my listeners that the question Michelle just posed of what can I do to help, you can pose that to yourself as well. What can you do to help yourself right now and in this moment as we go into the first commercial break? And we'll be right back with more from Michelle.
Success comes from not only what you know, but also who you know. Welcome back to It's All About the Questions with award-winning author Laura Stewart.
Hey there. Okay, so Michelle, you were just talking about how you can begin to gain awareness of actually what's going on for you in a moment, not the surface what's going on, but the deeper.
Yes.
How can we tie that then to you've got some awareness and you want to begin moving forward? Not sure if you need to let go of something or add something.
Well, and that's always the best question. When we start out a new year, it's vitally important to begin to clear out the energies from the past year, because without a clean slate, and literally having a clean slate by kind of clearing and releasing some of the old energies, we don't have the space or the bandwidth to really begin to create something new, because we're still building on an old foundation that's unstable. And so for me and for my clients, what I recommend is really taking the time to sit in contemplation and identify the things that happened during the previous year. What served you, what didn't serve you, what's ready to be let go, what do you want to create? And from that space of, what worked, what didn't work, you can identify the things that happened during the previous year and say, that wasn't as much fun as I thought it was going to be. And this is what I really want to experience this year. What needs to change within me? What support do I need in order to be the best version of myself, the highest, most empowered version ever of myself? And it's literally making a list. The good stuff that you want to create and the stuff that needs to be released. And then I help my clients really shift that energy out so that they are on that firm, solid foundation to begin to to create the year ahead that you really want to create.
Does everybody need to let go of something?
I believe so. I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know personally know any ascended masters that haven't. Life just is, and if we can do it in the moment, and this is really what I teach is teaching people how to be in the moment, so that you recognize, oh man, that doesn't feel good. If I clear this out now, it's not going to accumulate. If I take care of this right here in this moment, and this is about being mindful and about mindfulness and more consciousness, living more consciously and more authentically in each and every day. So something comes up, the driver cuts you off, it's like, oh, that was just so annoying. Oh, wait a minute, what's really going on? Oh, I can take a deep breath, I can release this, I can let it go. It doesn't continue to swamp my whole day. Oh, I can do that, can't I? Okay. So as you release, as you look at the energy that's underneath, which was the frustration, being cut off, I'm on a time limit, I can't get to my office, 8 feet may not make that big of a difference, but underneath that is the feeling of I've been disrespected. I've been disregarded in some way, that my needs don't matter. Oh, well, that's a huge programming that may be from childhood. What is it about that energy that is running in your life? Oh, well, my boss always gives me stuff to do at the last second, which is also disrespectful and disregards my time. That might be a pattern. And you can see those fractal patterns happen throughout your life based on those belief systems or those core experiences and feelings that keep coming up. Feelings are really the language of the spirit, teaching us, trying to tell us something. So when a feeling shows up, that's our soul, that's our spirit trying to say something's out of balance. Does that make sense?
It does. What I'm trying to figure out is how to best help my listeners be able to give themselves permission to look at that. Because it's stuff that I know for myself sometimes I don't want to look at.
Right.
Because because that whole idea that you talked about the neurons that fire together, wire together.
Right.
Sometimes I go, well, I don't even want to think there, because then that makes it even more real, and I need to just let that go. But it sounds like what you're saying is you need to go there, not dwell there, but go there. And immediately begin trying to work it through to find out the root. Is that correct?
And it sounds like a lot of effort and a lot of stuff. It's like, oh man, one more darn thing to do. And at first it can feel like that. But this is about creating conscious living. This is about making true and honest change in our lives, and it takes effort to do that. I think what happens a lot of times, though, is we get really afraid that we're going to get stuck in the emotion. If I go there, if I start examining my past without, a certified someone to, a counselor or a trusted advisor or a mentor or a life coach, or, I'm going to get swamped. And that's the beauty of the spiritual technology that I was given, that I wrote about in my book, Quantum Soul Clearing, Healing the Scars Life Leaves on the Soul, that helps people understand you can feel the feelings. And this spiritual technology, if you can use it, and it takes 2 or 3 minutes to go in, identify it, and then clear it out. And I teach this throughout every workshop that I ever do, how to actually go in, look at the energy, and clear it. Now, there's some things that come up that are super, super huge and really painful. Those definitely, you definitely need some help with those. And that's one of the things that I do that a really great counselor can help you look through and identify, so that you don't feel initially like you're just completely opening this massive can of worms that you're going to get stuck in and not going to be able to get out of, because that's even more scary, and that creates a lot of anxiety for people. So But what I really want people to know more than anything else is that there's a way out. You don't have to stay in the pain and the suffering if you can do a little exploration. Our feelings, we've been taught in this society that you just take a pill, run away from the pain, don't feel anything, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. And I think that it has created a mindset that has made us weak in a lot of ways, spiritually weak, and emotionally and psychologically weak, when we can't simply sit with what's going on. Take a pill, don't feel depressed, don't do this. And there are definitely instances, I'm not anti-drug if that's truly clinically necessary. But as a society, we have taken an easier route because it's part of the culture to medicate rather than to acknowledge, gosh dang it, I'm hurting. This has been a difficult year. 2017 was an extremely difficult year for so many people. People lost jobs, they lost relationships. One of my mentors calls it the lost year.
And we're going to continue that whole idea after the national news break.
Sure.
So everyone out there who's listening live or on podcast, doesn't matter if you're hearing the sound of my voice, know that you can move past whatever is holding you back. Even if you hadn't, to this moment, figured out what it is that's holding you back, you just know that you're not getting where you want to go. When we come back, Michelle is going to give us some techniques that we can use to help us move forward. We'll be right back.
Welcome to It's All About the Questions, where learning to ask the right questions can help you achieve lifelong success. Now, here to help you ask all the right questions is award-winning author, international speaker, and business strategist, Laura Stewart.
Welcome back. If you're just listening to us live here on iHeartRadio and WAXE, I'm here with Michelle Manning-Kogler, dear friend and author of Quantum Soul Clearing, Healing the Scars Life Leaves on the Soul, and the founder of the Quantum Soul Clearing process. And Michelle and I have been talking about how if you don't just need to add something to reach your goals and set your goals, but if you need to let something go. Now, Michelle, you've laid out this really great series of questions and even an exercise around the breathing to help myself and my listeners say, is this really what's going on, what I feel right now, or is there something secondary underneath it? And what can I do to help myself and this other person on the other side right in this moment? When we talk about setting goals, there's so many people out there. I mean, in my Facebook page alone, I cannot get over how many Facebook posts there are of people selling something to help you set your goals in 2018. I mean, it's pretty common beginning of the year because everybody sets their resolutions. But so often you set them and nothing happens. Within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, it just seems like they're forgotten or they can't be achieved.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes the goals that we have are far-reaching. They're set outside of ourselves. So, I want to hold up. I want to make X amount more money. Somebody, or I'm going to lose this amount of weight. I'm going to, we set ourselves up often for failure because the goals that we have are actually outside of ourselves. They're not personally focused. And so when that happens, we don't have the ability to affect that. When we say, I'm going to look at what is creating this kind of weight within me, and most weight isn't just calories in, calories out, it is what's really eating at me, because we're protecting ourselves from something, and we're creating a layer of protection to keep ourselves from feeling. So looking at that, and I lost 85 pounds this year, this last year in 2017, by looking at what was actually eating at me and going, following up also with a ketogenic diet. So for me, that was a winning combination. For others, it is a different higher protein. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. But the question is, what is it that I can affect? What is it within me that I have control over? And we have control over our feelings. We have control over how we act and react to situations. And the more I have been in this industry, and I've been doing healing work and interpersonal work for over 30 years, because that was what led me on my journey of healing my own body. So another tool that a person can use is simply placing your left hand on your solar plexus and your right hand on your heart. Explain where
solar plexus is.
Solar plexus is right above the belly button. It's between the rib cage and your belly button. It's that soft part. When you breathe in, it kind of pokes out, and when you breathe out, it moves in. And so as you place your left hand on your solar plexus and your right hand on your heart, you can imagine connecting the wisdom of the solar plexus, because that's your gut. That's where the soul kind of resides, and where you get your gut feelings. That's where spirit is communicating with you, and the wisdom and the love of the heart. And when you hold those two spaces together, it creates a resonant harmonic that helps you recenter and rebalance. And you can just do that right now. You can feel how peaceful you feel. It helps you get out of that loop.
Let me just throw in a caution out there. Anybody who is listening to this live and is in a car somewhere, please do not take your hands off the wheel.
Please
don't
do that.
To put, a hand on your heart and your solar plexus. Pull over on the side of the road, or know that this is being recorded and it will go to podcast, and you can do this later. Okay, so just be cautious and careful for those of you who are listening to this live, or if you're listening to it on the podcast in your car as well. Okay, go ahead, Michelle. You can take everybody through it now. It's got to be careful.
Please be cautious.
We don't want somebody cutting somebody off and having that whole 8-foot thing we were talking about earlier, and triggering other things. So.
Exactly. So just, yes, please, if you're driving, don't do this, but pull over or whatever. But those of you who are in a place where you can do this, just notice, just feel, because what it does is it helps you focus on what you're feeling, what you're thinking. It helps slow down your heart rate. It slows down your thought processes so you can get hold of them.
Okay, so people are going to put one hand, does it matter which hand, left or right hand?
I have found that the left hand on the solar plexus is the most effective, and the right hand on the heart.
Okay. And then are they doing this 4-7-8 breath, or it doesn't matter?
This one doesn't matter, but combined with that 4-7-8 breath is so powerful. It's really powerful. It's like that 1-2 punch for relaxation. Okay. Is that an oxymoron?
No, it's perfect. So people are going to put their left hand on their solar plexus, their right hand on their heart, breathe in and breathe out. And are they asking themselves anything? Let's actually just take them through it.
Yeah.
Without doing a lot of dead air time.
Yeah, exactly. So just, put left hand on your solar plexus and your right hand on your heart, and just breathe for a second. Just be present. Notice what your body is feeling. Notice if your shoulders are tense. Notice if your solar plexus is tense. Notice what belief, what thoughts, what feelings are arising. And sometimes, that monkey mind just won't let you stop, which is where the breath comes in very powerfully in this exercise. Just breathing. As you focus on the breath, you can just relax. And this is a way to really reset your body, your mind, and your soul. It's this tiny time out that allows you to get reconnected with you. And really this is about mindfulness. When you're reconnected with the real you, you can come at everything in your life from a place of positivity and from a place of consciousness. And I really believe that that's how we're going to be able to create, true world peace, but more importantly, how we create peace in our own lives. Because when we're peaceful with other people, and vice versa. We're entraining ourselves and other people for peacefulness. And who doesn't want more of that in this new year? It was so chaotic and crazy last year.
It truly was.
Yeah, and, huge challenges. So just notice what's going on in your body. And if there's something that's arising, just give the intention. I release this. I love the visualization of a great big huge cosmic dumpster, a blue dumpster that recycles my old energy. And it recycles it into something higher and better. And as you place that in there, just ask for more light, more love. Can you feel that shift?
I can feel it.
Yeah, doesn't that feel sweet? I love this. I love that it's almost, for kind of sounding hokey, but it's like that instant transformation. It's that instant reset that sometimes we just really need in our days. It's important.
From this place now, where you've had this reset, and I want to thank you for guiding everybody into that. From this place where my listeners are at right now, is this the place where you can begin setting a goal or seeing what needs to shift?
I'm not a big fan of goals per se. I'm a big fan of setting intentions.
Oh, I love that.
Where we focus our attention and intention is where our energy goes. So if we set a goal, that is something outside of ourselves. When we set an intention, we're aligned with the decision that we've made. And you can write it down as a goal. You can write it, on your mirror, this week I want to lose 2 pounds. Okay, well, which is kind of outside of yourself. But when you have that visual, and don't set yourself up for failure. I'm going to lose 5 pounds this week, or 10 pounds, or whatever that is.
Or grow your business 20%, or whatever that may be.
Or grow your business, or I'm gonna heal myself of this chronic disease I've had. Whatever that is, whatever version you have. Just be present. Just be present. And when we're present, we have the ability to make clearer, cleaner decisions in the moment. Oh, is it in alignment for me to be eating, something that I know causes inflammation in my body? Maybe not. Is it in my best interest to take on that extra duty when I know that I don't have the time to do that? And the knee-jerk reaction would be, oh, of course I can take that on. But when you're feeling overwhelmed, taking on one more thing is the last thing you need to do. Why are you taking on? So it's this constant inner exploration that I teach people how to do, and I love teaching people because it really is very simple. It becomes very simple, and it becomes a great habit to get into. It's what helped me get through some really significant challenges, both health and interpersonal, and again, that whole lost year concept from this year, the big losses that we've all had. So, but yes, it gives you that time out to make better decisions, to feel into, is this the right thing for me? No, that isn't. Ooh, yeah, that's really aligned with what I would like. That's where I want to go.
I love that. And we're going to go into our last commercial break, and then we'll be right back with more from Michelle Manning-Kogler.
Success comes from not only what you know, but also who you know. Welcome back to It's All About the Questions with award-winning author Laura Stewart.
So I just realized I've been mispronouncing my dear friend's last name as I was saying it going out of into the last commercial break. I went, that's not right. That's not right. So
it's all good. It's all good. I've been called far worse.
I know, but it's like I know better. And I'm like, wait a minute. As I said it that last time, I went, that's not right. Oh well. So I apologize, dear friend.
Perfect. No, it's just perfect. Don't sweat it.
All right. I just needed to release that out there. So there you go. All right. So this whole concept of goals versus intentions, I'm loving that perspective shift for me, because the concept that goals can be outside of yourself versus intentions which are inside, that raises so many questions for me, because it's words, right? And as a radio host, as a speaker, as an author, words are so important.
You bet.
And it makes me think that we all need to just look at each of those words, goals, intentions, letting go, bringing in, and what they mean for ourselves, applying that exercise that you took us through with the solar plexus and the heart, and go, well, what's truth for us, and is this really truth?
Right. Well, and as a gift for your community, I want to also offer a gift page that we can talk about in just a minute that has several exercises on it that can help also gain clarity, and we'll give that link in just a minute. So going back to the question, how do you gain greater clarity? Was that what you were asking me?
Around this whole perspective shift of goals, intentions, outside yourself, inside yourself.
What I have found is that, we want something so badly, and yet we still don't believe at some level, or we don't understand that when we're creating something outside of ourselves, or we're asking for something outside of ourselves that we don't have control over, we kind of are setting ourselves up for failure. It's adding another layer of complexity that we don't have access to. And if that's the case, then, how do we get what we want? And one of the things that I help people do is understand if they're creating or trying to create something outside of themselves rather than aligning from within, so that it's a natural extension of who they are and what they want to create. That's where we actually have the most control. So, when you can embody that goal, when you can feel it, when it becomes a purpose, when it becomes a passion, that's when all of the cooperative components of the universe show up for us. It's like your book, when you ask the right questions, when you are in that aligned space, all the people, places, circumstances, events, and things show up to support that dream, that desire, that intention in a completely different way than having to force something through that takes immense amount of effort and creates massive frustration. Does that make sense?
It does, and that sounds like a major letting go. It
is a major letting go.
Right.
It's letting go of control, which we've been pre-programmed to do in this society. If we're not in control, we're not successful. And that's not the truth. That really is not the truth. We can be successful in many different ways, and alignment with our dreams and our goals is really the most effective way of creating success for ourselves and for our businesses, for everything that we want and desire.
I love that, aligning with our purpose and our goals and our intentions. And as we're coming to the end of the show, I wanted to make sure you can share those the link for those exercises and how people can reach out to you if they have questions.
You bet. So if you go to quantumsoulclearing.com/questions, that's QUANTUM soul, SOUL, clearing, CLEARING.com/questions. And this is specifically for your radio people and your podcast people. They can get the meditations that are on here, and there's one that I call Prep to Work that clears out energy, helps clear out the old and regain the new, helps you realign. And then I have 2 specific meditations that are about clearing I'm never good enough, which is a huge program that almost all of us have. And the second one is removing self-doubt. So you're welcome to go to that link, and I'm sure that on your podcast and on our social media we can both post this and let people know where they can pick this up, because these are really powerful meditations and agents of change that you can use any time of the day that you want.
And is that where they can also reach out to you if they want to connect, if they have some specific questions for something that came up for them during today's show?
Yes, you can get hold of me at Michelle@quantumsoulclearing.com.
And it's Michelle with 2 L's, everybody, Michelle.
Yes.
At quantumsoulclearing.com. I have friends with 1 L, 2 L's, no E at the end, all sorts of different Michelles. This is Michelle with 2 L's.
Dozens of ways. I know. There's so many ways to do that. It's funny.
Last thought you'd like to share with the audience, share with my listeners?
You know, we've talked about so many different things today and different ways. You know, I've given different pointers and how you can really realign and reconnect. But the truth is, you're perfect the way you are. You have everything that you need within you for success. And it's just a matter of uncovering, recovering, discovering what that is. There's never a hopeless cause. There's no such thing in my book. And my purpose in life is to really help people reconnect with who they are in such a powerful way so that they meet their life purpose. And I'm here for you. If you need help, I'm just a phone call away. So thank you so much for having me here, Laura. It's just such an honor to be able to speak with your community and to share this time with you. You are absolutely the most amazing person I think I know.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored by your words and to have you here. And, you know, when you were talking, when you were just saying that you have everything you need, all of that, I know you were talking to all of my listeners,
yes,
both live and on podcast, yet it resonated inside of me because with my mom's loss, I've been feeling lost and thinking, I don't know what I have anymore. I don't know who I am. And you're saying those words, you can hear the emotion in my voice, made me realize, you know what? I needed to hear those words just then.
I think we all need to hear those words. I think that when life gets really difficult, and, you know, this is making me emotional too, but when we go through really difficult times, we tend to question our efficacy, and we can lose faith in ourselves and in the process. When we have those huge bumps, it's painful, but there's a way out. There's a way through all of this energy, and that's what I'm here for. That really is what I'm here for. So please reach out if you need help. If you want.
Let me just give that
support.
website one more time because we're about to run out of time. So quantumsoulclearing.com/questions. Michelle has some great freebies for you, several meditations to help you go into 2018 and let go of 2017. So Thank you, Michelle, so much for being here and for being a dear friend and mentor to me over the years.
I love you dearly. Thanks so much for having me.
Love you too. Everybody, remember, the right questions truly can change your life. So what are you asking today? Hug someone you love and have a great 2018. Reach out if you need some help.
You've been listening to It's All About the Questions, starring Laura Stewart. Connect with Laura at it'sallaboutthequestions.com and download a free workbook that will help you ask better questions starting today.